You probably think the food you eat comes from soil, sun, and rain. It doesn't. Roughly half the nitrogen atoms in your body pass through a chemical plant first. You are, in a very literal sense, partly a factory product. The thing responsible is synthetic ammonia fertilizer, made by the Haber-Bosch process, invented before the First World War. It is credited with sustaining food production for something like half the world's population. If it vanished tomorrow, billions of people simply could not be fed. So how do you build food out of thin air? Almost literally that. You take nitrogen straight from the atmosphere, add hydrogen, and force them together at hundreds of degrees under crushing pressure over an iron catalyst. It's brute force chemistry. Here's what surprises people. This process hasn't fundamentally changed in a century, not because nobody tried, but because thermodynamics doesn't negotiate. The best minds in chemistry are still stuck running the same violent recipe from 100 years ago. But where does the hydrogen come from? That's the dirty secret. Today it comes overwhelmingly from natural gas. That single fact makes ammonia production responsible for something like 1 to 2% of all global carbon dioxide emissions, and it welds fertilizer prices directly to the price of gas. In 2021 and 2022, that weld snapped. When European gas prices exploded after Russia's invasion of Ukraine, a huge share of Europe's ammonia capacity shut down within months. It became cheaper to import ammonia than to make it. That's when you realize these plants are just machines for converting gas into food. And it wasn't just nitrogen. Russia and Belarus are also top exporters of potash, another major fertilizer. So the war hit farmers from multiple directions at once. Fertilizer price indexes roughly tripled from 2020 to their peak in 2022. Fertilizer shocks don't hit your plate immediately. They propagate into food prices with a lag of about a year. So the 2022 fertilizer spike showed up in 2023 harvests and food inflation, and it hit import-dependent poor countries the hardest. A pricing decision in a gas market becomes hunger somewhere else, a year later. Now here's the part that flips everything. You might assume the problem is scarcity. Where fertilizer is cheap, the real problem is that we use far too much. Perhaps half of all applied nitrogen is never taken up by crops at all. That wasted nitrogen runs off into rivers, feeds algal blooms, and creates coastal dead zones like the one in the Gulf of Mexico. Some of it escapes as nitrous oxide, a greenhouse gas roughly 270 times more potent than carbon dioxide. The same molecule that feeds us is quietly suffocating our waterways. So can we clean it up? Green ammonia is the plan. You make the hydrogen by electrolysis from renewable power instead of gas. It's real, it's heavily invested in, and pilot plants are running. The catch is it's substantially more expensive than gas-based ammonia, and scaling it means building electrolyzer capacity measured in tens of gigawatts. And demand isn't shrinking. Ammonia is now being eyed as a shipping fuel and a hydrogen carrier because it liquefies easily and carries hydrogen densely. So demand may grow well beyond fertilizer just as the whole sector is trying to decarbonize. Meanwhile, the industry stays concentrated in a handful of countries, with world-scale plants costing billions each. My take is simple. Haber-Bosch is the least famous technology that everyone alive depends on. We turned fossil gas into bread, and it worked so well we built 8 billion people on top of it. Getting off the gas without breaking the food supply is one of the highest-stakes engineering swaps ever attempted, and almost nobody outside the industry is watching. Now you are.